Okay, awesome. So first, I just have to apologize for my sniffles. I had allergies, and I think it's turning into a cold.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
so if I sniffle, I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and mute myself, but we'll
It's
see.
okay.
And I also have a 2-year-old watching a TV show, so if you hear the background noise, I apologize for that too.
It's all right.
How are you
So
doing?
where are you? I'm fine. Just
Good.
I've been having a very busy day.
Oh boy, I hope this is okay for you.
Yeah, it's okay. I had to just pull over somewhere.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Are you doing this on your phone?
Yes, on my phone.
Oh, I tried to get it on my phone last week and it wouldn't let me. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm using my phone. The traffic is terrible. So I thought if I wait till I get to where I was going to, I was gonna be late. I decided to just pull over
Oh my
and get done with
gosh.
this first.
Wow. Okay. Well, if we're supposed to be on here for an hour, but if it's just the two of us, we may be able to get through it faster.
Yeah,
I don't know. So, I will, can you see the screen at all, or can you only hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Um, I'm just going to pull up then the questions.
Okay.
We should probably start with a prayer first. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful that we can meet together, and we're grateful for the safety that thou hast kept Elvis in. And we ask you to please watch over him as he does his class assignment, that he will be safe and that he will still make his appointments on time and do the things that he needs to do. We ask you to please be with those other members of our team that aren't here, that they can still be able to find a way to get their work done and get the grades that they need, and maybe we can help them in some way. We ask you to please bless our conversation, that we can flow freely and discuss the things that we need. And these things we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So what did you think of this case? Just first, just to start off, the Steve Carpenter.
Yeah, it's an interesting case. Actually, this is my first case I'm dealing with since the beginning of the semester because I had some technical issues with my laptop and stuff. And so in the
Oh.
past 2 weeks, I've not been able to do anything. So this is like my very first case officially for the semester.
Oh,
And
wow.
this is the first case study class I'm taking.
Yes, me too.
So
I skipped some of the other classes. I went from B183 to this class
yeah,
just because of scheduling conflicts, and
yeah,
so I haven't done any case studies either.
yeah. So a lot of things are new.
Yeah. Um. So, but did you read over the other cases though?
I've
You
not
just
had the
didn't.
time because, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
But I've sent an email to our teacher. So he said I should get done with that of this week first of all, and then I'll go back and work on the other one. So he's going to open it for me eventually.
Oh, good. Oh, that's nice. Okay, well then I guess what I kind of can do with this too is tell you a little bit about what we discussed in like the other cases. So
Okay.
the other cases, it was kind of decision and evaluation kind of cases. And this
Yep.
one, I kind of felt like it was a problem case.
Okay.
Because he obviously he had a problem, and this is his way of now he just has to kind of figure out what that problem is. So what I saw was that he had a business model, but he didn't follow it.
Yep.
And that to me is a major thing. Like I don't have very much experience really in the business world. I've had a few jobs. They're smaller jobs, but even in those jobs I've learned a few things here and there. And when you don't follow your business model and you let people talk you out of it and do things early, it's never going to work.
Yep.
Um,
That's true.
So In this first question, it says, many of our discussions center on understanding success or making crucial decisions, and today we are trying to account for failure. To begin your group discussion, quickly reconstruct the key elements of the Cake financial business model. He had a business model. He had an idea, and I think that was good. And then he had three things that he wanted to. Had three things that he wanted to try and do.
Yep.
And that was, he wanted to bring in revenue from advertising, and then the premium services for the customers, and then the data licensing fees. And I think that those are three good ideas.
Yep.
However, he didn't stick with it. He didn't move, and I don't think he moved fast enough. Oh.
For him, not the initial plan.
I'm losing you. You're going robotic on me.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I understand. You're probably in the middle of a freeway or something.
Yeah.
Where are you anyway?
I'm in Accra, Ghana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was just driving past the temple complex. I just drove in and parked.
Oh, really?
So I'm sitting right opposite the temple.
That's really cool. Huh. All right.
So where are you?
I'm in Missouri, in the United States.
Oh, Missouri.
Yeah, in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Back to the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what is your vote? Was Cake doomed from the beginning, or was it a promising business model?
I think there was a problem in the business model.
Okay. So why? What did you like about it?
I like the idea. First of all, the idea he came with, I thought it was very good and well. I think that he would have been able to achieve the success he hoped for.
Yeah. Let's see. No, I feel the same way. I don't like his business, but I think that he had a good strategy for it once he figured that out. I don't know if you remember at the beginning where he just listed out the things that he was interested in, and he saw how big social media was growing, and he wanted to jump into that.
Yep.
But he didn't know where, and so he just listed it out, and then he tried to mesh those things together to make it fit.
Yep.
And I think when you force something like that, it's harder to follow through on that because there's no basis for it. If he had that problem himself and he was trying to fix that problem for himself, like the previous cases had done, then I think it would have come together better. Next, discuss Stephen's approach to the opportunity. Try to understand what, if anything, Stephen could have done differently that so many have produced a better outcome. So, like on page 3, he says, in retrospect, I'm not sure that these early focus groups were very helpful. They validated our high-level concept, but we did not seek feedback on a specific product. And I think right there, that was one of his biggest problems. You can't have a focus group without an actual product. Because at the time he didn't have anything. So yeah, people are going to say, oh, I like that idea. But if they can't use it, there's no point. It's like, I don't know, the hoverboards now, you know, everybody wants one and thinks it's a good idea, but until they actually get on it and fall off of it, they're not going to know how dangerous it is. Let's see. He said, I learned that focus groups or for technical products can be unreliable because people people can't say what they want to see. And then on page 10, he says, there's no way you could have learned this up front through interviews or focus groups. There are a lot of precedents pointing to a strong social component, including investment clubs and active communities. I don't know how else he would, what other things he could have done other than, you know, having a beta product.
Yeah, I think the key is having a very good product.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter how hard you or how smart you are as a business person, if you don't have a good product, the demand for the product would not be high.
Right. Yeah. And I think that pushes us into the topic of that, what do you call it? That the competition that he went into.
Yep.
That what was the name of that? I always forget the stinking name of that. The TechCrunch 40, the competition that he joined. I think this is the point where he lost focus and got off track of his business plan. I mean, he had a good model set up. You know, he was ready to have an alpha site in March and then have the beta testing in June and then a launch in November. And then having that competition come in September just totally screwed up his timeline.
That's true.
Would you have done that?
No, I think if I was in his shoes, I would have stuck to my plan.
Yeah.
And avoided anything that would have derailed me from accomplishing the goal I've set.
Right.
I think it's all about planning and setting our priorities right. If you have a business model or something in mind that you want to do, once you've outlined the plans and strategies you will need to accomplish that, you just need to see it through.
Yeah.
Because sometimes listening to too many people and trying to do too many things at the same time can conflict, and at the end of the day, you end up not achieving nothing.
Right.
So I think if I was in these shoes, I would have stuck to the plan.
So I think what he was trying to do was just, he knew that it was going to generate some buzz for his company. I think that he had people writing about his product. He could have still done that without the tech competition. Yeah. Because he lost it anyway.
He did. He eventually didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, he gambled his product away. He gambled his testing. I mean, the one major step, that beta testing, is huge. I think it goes back even to this iLearn 3.0 that we're having to use.
Exactly. Everybody is complaining about it.
Everybody hates it. But who tested it? You know?
I don't know.
Had they tested it and they would have gotten the real feedback first, I don't think they would have this problem that everybody hates it.
Another issue, I think, is probably they tested it, or maybe they didn't really listen to the feedback they got. Because I remember I used it sometime last year for my American Foundation class. Oh. And in my feedback, I told them I didn't like it. It wasn't good. And I think most people would have said the same thing. Probably they just ignored it. Maybe they considered other factors, which I may not know of. So I think in the case of Mr. Carpenter, he shouldn't probably have gone for more testing. Sometimes people gamble about things, but a gamble can go either way. Sometimes you take a gamble and it works out fine, and some other time it just fails. So it's risky to
Yeah.
gamble. So that's why it's better to have a good strategy and then not depend on gambling, because it can go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can argue that some big businesses have taken a gamble and it paid off in the end, but not in all cases.
Right. And I like at the end of the thing, he said that I think he just thought it was going to grow faster than it did.
Yeah,
And so I think having had an understanding, he started a whole new niche, you know. He took something, tried to mash it up and push it into this section, and it didn't really fit. And
exactly.
so I think I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I just don't think that he understood the market for it.
Yeah, it's important because if he had probably done more research and
Yeah.
had been more patient, probably he would have had a better understanding of the market.
Right.
I think he didn't really weigh the pros and cons of the market well before he made a decision.
Right. Yeah, and he there was one little comment in here. It said the stamp of approval from the Tech Crunch. Well, I think that there's a lot more people with a stamp of approval other than TechCrunch, and I think that they just put all their eggs into that basket, and it just didn't pay off because they ended up losing
Yeah,
anyway, and they lost alpha and beta testing. And then once they did have a product, then they figured out, oh, now we have some bugs. Now it really comes down to using it, and it's really not user friendly.
yeah,
Um, and then like trying to, his timeline is just taking way too long. He took way too long to hire a project manager.
yeah.
I think that there's a few things about employees that I've learned, and you can't grow too fast and have too many people, but you need to have the right people doing the right things.
That's true.
And when you
So it's
have those,
like having square. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. It's like having putting square pegs in square holes.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
putting the right people in the right positions at the right time, because timing is critical.
oh yeah. I personal experience. I worked for a company doing like screen printing, like making T-shirts and stuff. And my boss sold the company to a new man, and the new man asked me to stay on and work. Well, he pulled somebody that worked in the back room of the embroidery who had no sense of management skills and put her into a storefront situation, asked her to be the manager, and it was terrible. It was terrible not having the right people in the right spots at the right time. And I eventually left the company because I just couldn't deal with the inadequacies, you know?
Yeah.
You have
I
to
think that is
have.
the worst thing that can happen to any
Yes,
business venture, because at the end of the day, there won't be efficiency if you don't have the right people in the right positions.
right. And he finally got that when he hired that, the Lawrence Tony guy. But it was already
Yeah.
August of 2008. I mean, that was almost a year and a half, 2 years after
Yeah,
he opened the
almost 3 years.
business. Yeah, it was way too long. And once he did get him in there, I mean, he was able to fix things, which was great, but it was just a little bit too late.
Yeah. I mean, had it come earlier, they probably would have had more success.
Right. Um, I think another problem too is he really didn't think about the customers
Yeah, yeah.
on the front end. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that a lot of us as customers don't see, but it really doesn't matter in the customer's
Sure.
eyes. You know, they just want to see, what they can use. And if you don't make them happy, it doesn't matter what's happening on the back end, really, because they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
Um,
So, so for I think that considering customers while developing either a business model or a business strategy, it's a key factor in success of any business organization. And so I think that if he had probably thought of how the product would, or how customers would react to the product, maybe he would have done things differently. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's the customers that would use the product. And so I think that rather than use the focus groups, he
Yeah.
probably would have sought the opinion of the customers first of all. Maybe um, send out surveys or something like that to get
Right.
the data from the customers.
Right. They did end up having, when they hired that Tony guy, they did end up
Yeah.
having those pizza days, where they would come in and check out the product. But again, 2 years is too late to be doing something like that.
Yeah. So imagine that you spent 2 years doing that.
Yep.
And let's say you had other serious competitors out there. The competition would have used the 2 years
Yeah.
to take a larger share of the market and consolidate. And by the time you get back to doing the right things, you will
Yeah.
be lacking behind. And so winning back the customers will be difficult because some customers become loyal. So sometimes I think the 2 years is of the time.
Yeah.
Come back and then beat the competition.
Yeah. If you remember, like Mint won the Tech Crunch, but they also used better interfaces and stuff on the back end that helped them create more. They dealt with a little bit of a rougher vendor, because remember Carpenter didn't want to use Yodel because he had had bad experiences with them before.
Yeah.
But that other company was willing to just put up with that for a little bit to help them, get started. And then, eventually they could have gotten out of that. But sometimes you do have to kind of bite the bullet and work with people you don't really want to either, just because they have a good product.
That's true.
Let's see. Now, you did not do the Rent the Runway, right?
No, I did not.
Because it just says, the question says, as a group, can you come up with a list of ways Steven's approach is different than Rent the Runway? Just when you go back and read that, Rent the Runway did some focus groups, and they learned from each focus group that they did, but they actually had their product out there, and they learned each time they did it what to do and what not to do, and they were able to really get that target market by doing that. And I think that Steven did not do that, this Carpenter guy. He just asked questions to a group of people, and that was really all he could do because he had no product, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So do you think that, let's see, let's go to this one little part right here though, where he talks about in August of 2009, they finally came up with a product that actually had a yearly premium. If they had done that earlier, I think that, if they'd have focused on making money, they may have been able to salvage a little bit or last a little bit longer. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
I did the math, and I think it's only like 303 customers in the first few weeks.
Oh boy.
Out of, I think he said that there was like 16,000 registered, 18,000 registered users, and only 6,000 who had linked their accounts. So even out of those 6,000 people who had their accounts on his site, only 300 of them decided to pay for the service.
Yeah.
Whereas he thought earlier that, he was going to make millions. And did you ever see anywhere? I don't understand where he came up with his numbers.
Yeah. Let me look at the.
I don't understand.
I've not seen that.
Because like on page 3, he said in his marketing or his business plan, he projected that 82 million in revenues. And I don't understand where he got those numbers from. He just like pulled them out of thin air.
Yeah, they are just projections he made. I think
Yeah,
probably he just estimated based on what he thought
right.
the market could do. But I don't think
Yeah,
he considered
I
the market forces. He just kind of
no.
gave a rough estimate, which I think it's dangerous.
I think he took like hard percentages, you know? So he thought he was going to get 21% of his profit from advertising. And he took that
Yeah,
21% from where he saw on page 2, it said that customers spend 1.6 billion. So I think he just took his 21% and of that 1.6 billion. You just because somebody spends that money in advertising doesn't mean they're going to advertise your stuff.
that's true.
I don't know. I don't know how he came up with these hard percentages. He just
Because I'm really surprised because if you're coming out with such high percentages, you consider the fact that you are not the only one who is advertising. Probably you might have other companies out there who
right.
would also invest a lot of money into advertising. And so if you consider the competition he might face, then probably he would have been modest with his projections.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he was very. I'm kind of a skeptic, and I always go with the least projected. That way,
Yeah.
if I have more, then it's a bonus. But if I can
Yeah,
just get that little bit, then I'm fine.
yeah, I'm not much of a risk taker, so I like to avoid risk as much as possible. So most times I try to use smaller numbers, so just to be on the safe side.
Right. Even in our home budget, like I make sure that I can pay all of my bills and do all of my stuff only on my husband's salary. So
Whoa.
I babysit on the side, and I make a little bit of cash on the side, and I do not put that into my budget whatsoever.
Nice.
So
That's a very safe way of planning.
yeah, and I don't think that he did any of that.
No, he did not.
um so
I
so
think he was too focused on the supposed profit he dreamed
yeah,
of making that he
yes.
failed to consider other aspects that are necessary.
No, you're right. So I think that goes kind of into our next question. Like, what's the main reason for his failure? I think you're right. He wanted that. He chased the money and not the passion of the dream.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think his product was forced. I don't think it was something he was really passionate about.
No, I think it was forced because he saw an opportunity
Yeah.
and he thought that he should just seize the opportunity so that he can make money.
Yep.
Yeah, if it was something he was passionate about, something he loved naturally, he would be more careful with his plan and he would spend more time
All
and
right.
pay more attention to detail.
Yeah. And then
So I
that
think,
takes us. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead, don't worry.
I was just say that takes us kind of into what should he do now?
Okay.
Like we know that he eventually sold the company, but when you realize that your product is not doing well, and he only made $30,000 of revenue in that first month, when they were spending 300,000, I think that should have been his indicator that they're not going to make the money.
Exactly. And he should have been able to see that early enough.
Yeah. I think that's the time where he should have said we need to sell. But circumstances also hit him when the market crashed, like big time, was October 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that because we had a plumbing company that we owned, and in 2006 and 7, we went from building, like we did custom homes, the plumbing for all the homes, and we went from building, I don't know, 90 homes a year to none in 2008.
Yeah. 2008 was the year we had that global economic meltdown, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that affected even us here in Africa. I remember then I was going on my mission. I was preparing to leave on my mission when the whole
Oh,
thing started. And I remember it clearly. It was difficult. I had even lost my job that year.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh wow, good job.
Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. Um, so yeah, I think that he didn't watch the indicators. I think being new and to being the person who runs the company,
Yeah.
I just don't think he understood the indicators very well. I think that was another part of his problem too. Is he out of college? He knew where his strengths. He even said it in there that he didn't know a lot of certain aspects of like marketing and technology and that kind of stuff, and so he wanted to work for other people to learn that. But if you look at his resume, he didn't stay in his jobs very long. He just thought
Yeah.
he was hot snot and could, do it all. He was smart enough, and I don't think he waited long enough to learn anything.
It's true. I think he was also in a hurry to branch out on his own.
Yes. Yeah.
So if he had been more patient, probably he would have been able to gain more experience working for other people.
Right.
And that would have enabled him to avoid certain mistakes which he made now, because he would have observed those kind of mistakes in those places where he worked.
Yeah.
Probably he spent so much time thinking and dreaming about what he wanted to do for himself rather than learn from other people's mistakes that he was working for at the
Oh,
time.
yeah. I know. And how often does that happen? I mean, I know it's happened to me. Patience is a virtue, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, these things are easier said than done. When we are
Oh,
in a
yeah.
situation, you realize that
Oh, yeah.
it's difficult to actually implement.
Yeah. Um, um, was the failure just beyond Steven's control? I think a little portion of it was a little bit because he was ready to make some deals. He had some stuff on the table for the licensing part, which I think would have made him a lot more money than trying to get customers. But again, the market crashed and people were
Yeah,
backing off of all that stuff. So that was kind of something that played against him. Maybe
yeah.
if
I think
he'd had that licensing fee, he could have, but I don't know.
yeah, I think the crashing of the market also played a very, very major role uh,
Yeah.
in his failure. Because if the market hadn't crashed, probably he wouldn't have sold the company when he sold it. Maybe he would have had enough time to re-strategize and then
Yeah.
do things right.
Yeah.
But
But it was a slow growth business too, He realized that. He just thought it was going to be able to go so fast.
that's true.
But yeah, that market crash, it is unfortunate, but that also hurt with customers too because people were backing off the stock market and backing off spending extra on fees and services like what he was offering, and then too just those stock, anything that had to do with money marketing, they were
Sure.
just
I think
not.
a major case with most entrepreneurs that I know is the fact that they are always very optimistic about their ideas and the product that sometimes they make lofty projections about the potential of the business. And
Yeah.
so it makes it difficult for them to foresee a certain now in any business, just like in any aspect of our life, there are unforeseen circumstances that we don't
Mm-hmm.
plan for, like the crashing of the market. He didn't plan for that. Nobody foresaw it.
Right.
It just kind of happened. And so if he had known that 2, 3 years before that time, probably he would have been able to have better plans and maybe avoided the mistakes he
Right.
made.
Do you think he could have done the same company a couple of years later?
Well, if you consider the fact that this was an opportunity he got because of the growing of the social media at the time, I think a couple of years back probably it would have been a bit harder too because the model wouldn't have worked well without the effectiveness of the social media like Facebook.
Uh-huh. It would be it's interesting to think about that. Would he have done better? I wonder if he would have even done better if he would have done it before 2008 or 6. I wonder if it would have gone through in 2004,
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
that's interesting.
I can't really say what would have happened, but I think even if he did it in 2014, if he had made the same mistakes he made at the time he did it, he would
Hmm.
have gotten the same kind of results.
Yeah. So, do you? I guess the major question of this, um, that they wanted to ask was, what was it? As Carpenter began work on his next business, he reflected on what he might have done differently. So obviously, we never know what's going to happen, but I think there was a few points in here that he even said that he would do differently.
Yeah.
But I think the major thing that came out of this, because it was a problem category of case study, he learned the value of having the right team from the beginning, a lesson he planned to
Yeah.
take it with him in the next company. And then you almost can't put a price on that, right?
That's true. That's true.
You can't. I mean, he learned so much that the next time he could be a better failure.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he said in here, he said Silicon Valley tolerates failure as long as you don't consistently lose money for investors. He was able to pay those
Exactly.
investors back. I think that's a huge point on his side.
Exactly. But I think it's good because personal opinion, I think the best way to learn is through failures. When you try out something and you actually fail doing it, you'll be
Yeah.
able to know better the areas you didn't do well, and then you can correct the mistake in your future endeavors. And so that's what happened to him too. I
Yeah.
think he would do better, having learned from this experience. At least
Yeah.
now he knows the areas he did do well and the areas he didn't do so well. And so he knows what to correct and at what time to correct that.
Yeah. I think that happens in our lives all the time. I mean, parenting is even like that.
Yeah.
You know, my parents, I'm the good child in my house because I'm the youngest. My parents made all
Oh,
the mistakes with the other kids, and I'm the perfect one.
yeah, and I'm the first child, and I'm the one most like they were. I mean, I and my dad till date we quarrel. We are not in good terms. We fight all the time because, I mean, I'm the first child, and then I'm
Yeah.
like the experimental child. They used me to
Yep.
experiment parenting.
Absolutely.
So,
So this
and
is
so,
his first child.
yeah. So all my siblings kind of enjoy the things I didn't enjoy growing up because my parents used me to learn how to be good parents and how to be bad parents. So I brought
Yeah.
out the worst in them and the best in them at the same time.
That's funny. Yep.
Yeah.
I think this was a good case. I mean, I feel for the guy. I think he did make a lot of mistakes. Um, they were not catastrophic mistakes,
No,
but he learned.
yeah. So for me, I think the most important thing is the fact that he made mistakes, but the mistakes enabled him to realize the problems, and then
Yeah.
he learned from his mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Because one thing is to make mistakes, another thing is to learn and then to correct those mistakes you've made in your next endeavor. So I think that
Oh,
the mistake that
yeah. Oh, where'd you go? I can't hear you anymore. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, there we go.
I can
Wait,
hear you
you're
now.
back.
Yeah,
Okay. You went into a well.
yeah,
Um,
that's the network.
oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I think this was a good discussion. I think I wish we would have had the other people on here.
Yeah,
So to Thomas and Aaron, if you hear this later, we miss you. Sorry. Um, what I'll do is I'm gonna post this link up to get the YouTube link, and I'm gonna post it into the discussion board for this week, and then you can copy and paste that onto your poll,
Okay.
your post discussion poll, and then so watch for that once you get home and settled or safe, better than the temple grounds.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, well, should we try and plan for the next one now? Oh, you're lost again. Come back to the light side. Oh, you're gone. One more minute, come back. Stick your phone way up high. We can't hear you. Okay, Elvis, what I'll do is I'll just stop this broadcast. I'm going to post it if you can still hear me, and then we can just email and we'll set up. Let's try and set up again for Friday if you have time. That way we can do the next case study and get that done. And then maybe if the other two, we'll get them, and maybe we can do a Tuesday, Friday kind of thing. We'll have Tuesday for the first one and Friday for the second ones. So I'll talk to you, okay, Elvis?